In this video, two different ways of brewing Sheng Pu'Er to bring inspiration in your everyday tea brewing. Hi guys, welcome back to another tea talk. And when we speak about tea talk, we like to talk with someone. So today I have a very special guest. You know him already, you have seen him on the thumbnail, you read it in the title. So without further ado, let's welcome William.
Hi.
Here we are,
Gabriele.
William.
And
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for visiting.
I just arrived here with my family in Zurich for a couple of hours and got a very pleasant welcome by Gabriele.
You have already drunk two teas?
Yeah.
So, William came to visit. What did you think he has brought?
Tea. Of course.
Tea. We have a Farmer Leaf tea. And you know what? Before we start brewing this tea, I have a little question to you because Farmer Leaf. Tell me if I get this right. But for me, when I think about Farmer Leaf, I think that you bringing a farmer perspective into the Western world. Because you know there are many tea vendors, right? Like myself and others. But I don't do tea myself. You do tea yourself. Was that the intention also behind the name, or not really?
I don't know. I remember when I got this idea, I needed a new name because the name of my first company was Banachra, so it was supposed to mean like the tea from Sichuan Bana.
Yeah.
But actually, maybe most people didn't get it, and I didn't sell that many teas from Sichuan Bana at the time.
Really?
So I thought, okay, when I finish my studies in agriculture at university, I need to change the name, find a new name for my company.
But you were studying in China.
Oh, at that time I was in France actually.
You started everything. Okay.
That's a long story, but the name, I got the name like this, Farmer Leaf, and I thought it would be a good whiskey name actually. I don't know why, but I just chose this name. Yeah, of course. And well, you know what we say, like the name we give is not the eternal name. That's one of the thing in the Taoism stuff. And so in the end, it doesn't really matter what name you give.
Yeah, but thanks to the name, the first thing I think is about the word farmer. And then I see that you actually, you just mentioned,
Leaf,
you have an agricultural background, you farm tea, and also in your video you bring a lot of farmer perspective that I think is not easy for us because we in the Western world, we usually Chinese tea farmers are Chinese. You know, they don't tell us any information about farming, about cultivating the tea. And so, so I wanted to... It's interesting that nonetheless you end up with that name, although the intention was not really related to it. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you don't really plan things, you just do what you want in life and go with it.
That's right,
Farmer Leaf sounded like a natural name to give to our company.
Nice.
But yeah, for sure, this information is not easy to find. And even in China, actually, outside you could say like the academic circles or maybe, in Monghai in the tea factories, maybe people are interested in the agricultural stuff.
Yeah.
But I would say it's... you will very rarely find it in the common marketing, mainstream marketing for tea. For when you sell to consumers in China, I think you talk mostly about the health benefits or maybe the prestige of the terroirs, but they talk about the prestigious names, but they rarely really explain why they are so prestigious, what makes them unique and everything.
I understand, okay.
And,
so even that would be almost a new perspective in China, let's say. Anyway, we wanted to brew Sheng Pu'Er. I don't know how William brew Sheng tea. You don't know how I brew.
Either, yeah.
So I even let you take the piece of cake you want. You see, it's already started. He doesn't use the...
Our cakes are quite loosely pressed.
It is indeed. So it was very easy to...
And so I saw that you started from the outside. That's interesting.
Because usually what I do, I really break completely the cake. I go all the way around, inside and outside. I break it to half.
Yeah.
And then I put it in a jar sometime.
Yeah,
So
me
it really
too.
depends.
Like most of the tea I drink is like when we make samples for a website.
Yeah.
Well, I just drink the leftovers.
Yeah.
Most of the time. But usually I don't use a pour pick. I just
break
take
by
a
hand.
pour.
And what are we drinking actually?
So this is a tea from our tea garden. So we make tea in Jingmai, and this is 2018.
Okay.
This is the ancient tea garden.
So
of,
it is almost
Wongbo.
5 years old.
Yeah. You can see here Wongbo. So
Okay.
it's
So you basically near Jingmai, Wangbo is one of the place. Do I pronounce it correctly?
it's in Jingmai. It's
And
in
it is
Jingmai, and
one
it's
of the
a
places with
plot.
the ancient tea trees, right?
Yeah, so you know you have the ancient tea trees in Jingmai, but it's a vast area. And if you ask the Dai names, so the Dai is the ethnic minority who lives on the mountain. Actually, in Chinese they just talk about the Gushu, like the ancient tea trees, but in Dai they have about a dozen different names. They have named the places. Okay, they have
really?
split the tea gardens into different places, and so I process the tea. I source and process the tea accordingly. So when we source tea, we write down the name of the place, and so at the end of the harvest, we have many batches in bags, and we make our different blends. And for some of them, we do like a unique garden blend.
In this
or
case,
even
is
just a single batch.
or?
So yeah, this one is a blend of several, so probably 2 harvests, but during one harvest you will process tea for maybe 2-3 days. So maybe there are like 5 or 6 bags that all come from the same garden. And it's a nice garden that's just above the village.
I have to visit William. So I told him, now you're visiting me, and as soon as I get the visa, I come over and I'll visit you in Jingmai.
Sure.
All right, let's make some room here. At this point, I don't know if William uses a waste bowl. I'll put it here in the center.
Yeah, I use the waste bowl.
So, I don't know if you do a rinse, do you?
Yeah. So the first thing we didn't do is we didn't preheat the
I did
TEAWARE.
not, because I usually preheat with the first brew that I throw away.
Okay.
But sometimes when I think about it, because that's the point sometimes, think about it, especially with the Gaiwan, I would warm up the Gaiwan and just to smell the leaves from the warm Gaiwan.
Usually I do that for oolong tea or for some very special teas that I'm really interested in, or you could say that are quite unique. But for pu'er tea I rarely do it because I'm not that interested in the opening fragrance, or usually you can get a good. Usually what I like most is maybe preheat the cups actually.
I was thinking when I was pouring, should I preheat or not, and then I said okay.
And then just smell the pitcher. But for oolong tea, usually I will preheat and then give it a little shake.
A shake, especially to roll at least,
But anyway, my teas are not very fragrant, so it's not really the point.
You didn't have a lot in the pitcher, but smelling directly in the yixing, you can certainly get quite some fragrance, Right. But tea is meant to be tasted, right? So. William, how long have you been out of Europe? When was the last time?
Out of Europe? Like 5 years. I hadn't come
5
back.
years, wow.
Yeah, because the COVID crisis happened and now it's over, so we can get back.
Did your wife stay in Yunnan?
Yeah, my wife stayed in Yunnan because we have to send the orders. Every day there's lots of orders and lots of things to do.
She's bringing,
in Yunnan.
keeping the business.
But for sure, next time we come, she will come along.
Nice.
It's quite a change now, because I've spent so much time in China now that when I came back to Europe, I was
you noticed the difference,
surprised,
Yeah. Really? Positively or negatively?
So I thought you'd ask me like, how long have you been out of China? Because I feel that's usually what people ask me because I'm always in Yunnan. But now that it's open, we will travel more.
So we will pour each other in the colorful cups,
So that's
each
how
other
it
teas.
works.
No, the other one. So,
Really?
Yeah, so that
Oh,
I have in the small
okay.
cup. In the small cup, I can
see.
try my tea, and you can try your tea.
let's do that.
Actually, it's the same tea, of course, but it's interesting to see if there is a difference.
So I guess we can. throw
And
the
if we do it like that,
stickers.
you know, you can see clearly a major difference in the color. Look of my brew and your.
Oh, yeah, that's
massive.
true.
Yeah. So I'll definitely start with Williams tea, with the what I expect to be
So-
lighter. Is vibrant, I would say. So it's like you don't have. It's not round and flat. It has a lot of movement in your mouth. As you mentioned, not extremely fragrant. Usually you get more fragrance. Not usually, sometimes you get more fragrance in the very first brew. But it's very, I don't know. I would say alive.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I had a tea session in Geneva, and someone told me that my tea was very disciplined, actually, very polite.
Very polite.
So I asked, like, what is an undisciplined tea? Like, a
Yeah,
messy
because I
tea?
find it. Yeah, I mean there are pours that are way smoother and flatter. So there is some intensity, and in my cup I have already bitterness. Probably I actually prefer this one steep. I prefer your brew. I would have done a bit shorter.
I think I prefer your brew because I like my tea strong, usually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll go with the second brew, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm a bit wasteful here, but I will just discard. We'll have 1 cup of each
Yeah,
brew.
we need another bowl.
We need a bigger bowl.
But you know what? I don't have to reach far.
Okay, that's good.
We have another bowl. It's actually my matcha bowl.
Oh,
And by the way, this matcha bowl was a gift from Peter from Tea Mania.
okay, that's great.
You see the connection here? It's,
The world of tea is connected.
The world of tea is
It's not that
connected,
big
yeah.
in the Western world.
it's not.
I
it's
mean,
not,
for
yeah.
the good teas like this.
You also see a difference actually. William, you're brewing in a white guy one. I'm brewing in a Duanni.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is intentional, right? I asked you
Yeah, because you have a lot of TEAWARE, and that's
Yeah,
what I
tons
picked
of,
from your TEAWARE.
Yixing here.
Because I like the simplicity and the elegance of the Gaiwan. Okay.
You're a
well,
minimalist.
In a way, you could say it requires a bit more skill to be able to use a Gaiwan. At least if you're a beginner, you will burn yourself and things like that. But in the end, it's the most elegant tool, I think, because it's
And yeah, I have a lot of white Gaiwan. I also like, also because you see the color of the leaves, you concentrate a lot on the tea and not so much on the TEAWARE, if you want. It's just I really like my Sheng in this yixing, but we did a video where we compare with Caroline actually, where we compare the same tea brewed in this yixing teapot and in a Gaiwan. At the end, we like it more in the Gaiwan, just because it was the taste was just clearer in the Gaiwan. The difference was minor, but nonetheless, I like so much this teapot that I tend to go with the teapot.
Yeah, so that there's no real better way. And yesterday we were talking about the benefit of using a yixing teapot versus a Gaiwan, things like that. People will start talking about advanced physics and how the minerals will interact. But actually, you should use a piece of TEAWARE because you like it. It's more for the aesthetics, I think, than for the technical change it will bring to the brew.
Yes. Yeah. Because in a way, I also sometimes like to connect tea with art, and TEAWARE sometimes are pieces of art, and depending on the atmosphere you're in, even on the TEAWARE you're using, it can change a little bit your perception of the tea. And sometimes I just look at my teapot, I choose a teapot, and then I think, what tea should I use? So I just think what TEAWARE I want to use, and the tea almost comes second actually, just because I feel inspired of using that.
Yeah, because when you do the Gong Fu session, you're not just drinking tea, you're creating a phenomenon.
Yeah.
At least you're looking for that sublime phenomenon. You want to have that great experience. And sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't have it. But I guess the skill actually of the Gong Fu brewer is to create that environment. The environment is the most important. Now, of course, if you've got good water and good tea, it helps, and good TEAWARE. But you have to create the synergy, I would say.
Yeah. That's important. And I am more a scientific person than an artist. But never like in tea, I discovered the importance of the environment and your subject perception. And I have some of the best tea session I had in China. I know that if I buy the tea and I bring it home, it will never taste as good as that.
I think I started with a very scientific mind, and I still like to have that scientific mind. But you find out that science is useless without thinking more about the phenomenon, or you could say like metaphysics.
Didn't you had actually a video about the topic where you distinguish between two approaches? Maybe it was slightly different. Maybe it was the one where we in the West, we really weight every single leaves, 2.5 grams, 45 seconds, all precise. And the other approach of going more by feeling.
Yeah. But you can even see the difference in culture, like between the coffee culture and the tea culture. In coffee, I don't know why, but we've decided that for this plant we have to be very scientific, very technical. But tea is something different.
Speaking about the specialty.
Okay. At the beginning, it's just very similar looking plants growing in a field. But for one, that people have decided you need to be technical, and for tea, people are more spiritual, or I don't know. Like Lipton, they tried to do that tea brewing machine that would work like espresso, and it failed horribly because that's not what people are in.
It's not meant to be. Yeah, I mean, the tea comes from China originally, and Chinese traditionally don't necessarily have a scientific approach. Like if you read the Chinese Wikipedia, is way less scientific than Wikipedia. It's like, I don't know, they mix it up with stories, and it's a little bit more, I mean, that's my perception about China.
Maybe more mythological, you could say.
A little bit, yeah.
But I think you could also have a spiritual approach with coffee, or a very technical approach with tea.
Sure.
And the problem is, in the end, it's up to each of us to find their own way. How spiritual they want to take it, or how much scientific they want to take it.
There is no right and wrong, right? Whatever you guys like. Yeah.
There was a guy in the tea session who makes his own water, so he will weigh each mineral. He starts from distilled water and will weigh each minerals. And I know in the coffee world they do that a lot. But for the tea, not so many people do it, but if it's your thing, or I don't know, some people will say a prayer before drinking
Honestly,
tea.
you also need time to do that, right? If I think that before drinking tea I have to weight all my minerals and doing like that, by the time I have the water ready, I don't have any time to drink tea.
But that's exactly why they do it. They like to spend time on their hobby. Look at how many people discuss how to build a humidor in their home just to store their pu-erh cakes. They like to put in the work actually. Because
I see the point, right? It's a hobby. It's a hobby for me, but I prefer spending my hobby time in drinking tea.
But you're preparing, if you spend time preparing your water, it's also part of the Gong Fu, I think.
It is. Well, it certainly is. It certainly is, yes.
And it's all about the experience. If you look at the Japanese tea session, for example, during the whole session, you'll just drink like 3 cups of tea, but you've prepared that moment, and I guess that's why they keep doing it, because it must be very enjoyable.
In a way, the way that maybe this person is preparing the minerals with the water in anticipation of the tea moment is like in my case when I spend my time in choosing the TEAWARE.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
That's my point. Each of us will have their own kinks, their own things that they like to do. For some people, it's about tea pets, or just about choosing which friend you're going to invite to gossip around a cup of tea. Or
do you use
like that.
tea pets?
No, I don't use really.
I have plenty of
really?
down there, but I don't use them.
Okay.
Sometimes, depending on the bowl, sometime I do that just because they're cute. But I haven't used them for very long.
I'm not really into those little stuff. To me, like they just collect dust, and I hate that. To have lots of stuff that collects dust on your shelf.
The tea.
But you can see that this tea has a good chachi because we're talking a lot, and that's usually
And I'm sweating.
the sign. When we start, people are a bit shy. People don't talk, but you give them good tea, and if the chachi is good, they keep talking. And
It has some strength, and I didn't want to interrupt you before, but one thing that I really noticed is a taste note of mushrooms. Yeah. In some of the brew, I don't remember, actually the lighter one somehow, interestingly. So I had this, so it's not an extremely floral or fruity, but it has a wilder taste maybe. Yeah.
Well, I would say your water is very good actually.
You like it?
Your filtered water, yeah.
We were just discussing that before.
And but your teapot definitely has a taste. It brings something.
The two teas change. They taste so different from each other. They are very different. Yeah. I started brewing my stronger, and the third steep I even forgot it. On top of that, of course, the yixing make it a tiny bit rounder, maybe.
But you forgot it because you're talkative. So it's also part of how the session is going.
I always forget my brew.
Yeah, but that's why we like you as a tea brewer.
But you know what? If you keep on liking more my tea than yours, I don't know, because I really like William's tea better.
Maybe because it's also an exchange, and it's actually the first time we've had lots of conversations online, but it's the first time that we meet each other. And we're both online tea sellers, and I'm always thinking like, what's the difference with a tea shop? Well, if you have a physical tea shop, you can really meet people and have a tea session.
Yes.
And I think even like a Zoom meeting, it cannot really replicate that.
No. You can get a bit closer to that, right? Instead of knowing just the name of your customers, both William and I, both Farmer Leaf and nannuoshan, have, for example, Discord channels where you can have a little bit of more interaction, a tiny bit, but it will never be like in real world.
We can exchange knowledge on these mediums, like on YouTube and stuff, but the experience, the phenomenon, it's very hard.
Yeah. But it's good, and that's why we try to do workshops together. We organize tea journey in China before, and that's why William, after 5 years having me from France and Europe, is coming over and is doing a tea tour. You're traveling through all Europe to meet your customer. Why? Because although we are online tea seller, we still enjoy drinking tea with others.
Yeah, of course.
That's and that's a hard time. And we had the real tea shop, and you also have a tea shop actually in Jingmai.
Oh, it's more like an office, in China. Everyone
for tasting,
but it's just for meeting friends. You don't really sell tea in the tea shop like you do in a Western tea shop.
Well, probably you would do that maybe in a city in East China, like if you would have such a place in China.
But in Yunnan, everyone has a tea shop. So it's just like a public space where you can drink tea.
But it's quite big, isn't it? From the video.
Yeah, it's quite big. It's quite big. Like we can sit maybe 15 people at the table. Yeah, because that's how China works. Sometimes they come with lots of their friends. So, and we just have parties in the tea shop. We drink tea, we drink wine, and all kinds of stuff. Actually,
nice. Yeah. That's the tea business in China is so different than any business in Europe. Like, which is the type of business in Europe that bring people around the table? When do you go to a shop and you taste what you buy, what you will buy? You cannot do that really here, right? It is more a Chinese thing. You go to a tea shop, you drink the tea, and then you buy. If you want, sometimes you go there, you drink a tea, and you go. Just because
and like in Yunnan, you can drink tea everywhere. You want to buy an insurance, they have a tea table, and they will brew tea for you, have you wait or discuss something. It's all at the tea table. A lot of things,
A lot of business happen at the tea table, not only tea business.
Yeah, even like you're at the bank, you can just sit at the tea table while they're doing their stuff,
Yes. I think that our pizzas arrived.
Oh, okay.
So we have to go out for dinner.
Yeah,
but I hope you guys have enjoyed the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a bit more about this tea. There's more to it because it was made in our home. Well, it was made in our factory. But then I brought it on my last trip to China. I had to travel light this time, and actually in my bedroom, in my hometown, I found like there was like a ton of these cakes.
Really?
So that's why I just brought it, and that's where the cake comes from. So it's been stored for like 5 years in my hometown.
Because you usually sell more fresh tea. So do you also have a room where you store teas for later years, or is more?
Yeah, sure. I store tea in Pu'er City, but not that much. Only a very tiny portion of what we sell.
Okay.
But this one is special because it was stored in southern France, actually.
So it is European, let's say. So it's a colder climate for sure with respect to Jinmai.
Yeah, probably a drier climate, but you can see it's still aged. So
yeah.
Because I know some customers are worried that the tea won't be able to age in their home and that you need to store it in China, but I think it's not true.
It's I would say, it's first of all it depends where you live, right? But it's not each of us lives in Zurich or in Berlin or in France, and sometimes you have to live a little bit more time for sure. So like in a very humid place and very hot will age a bit faster. But the tea will change for sure. We store all our teas in Berlin. Some of them we buy later on. So it could be that I buy, some tea that has already been stored in China for 10 years. But a lot of the teas is just aging in Berlin, and I can tell you it ages.
Yeah. So I was quite happy when drinking this tea. Actually, it wasn't that bad after 5 years of aging in southern France.
Yeah.
And yeah. So.
But that tea then it means is not available on the shop.
No, it's been long sold out. This one, it's been long sold out.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this conversation about the differences between the two methods. I would say you have seen us doing it, right? So you judge yourself. And at the end, the title actually was just an excuse to have a tea along with Williams. That's the first thing we thought about. Yeah.
So let's go eat our pizzas now.
Let's go.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
See you later.